Welcome to my channel Explore with Joyeeta. On a secluded island in the Indian Ocean, there is a tribe of indigenous people that attacks anybody who attempts to visit. The island has been named both the hardest to visit and the most dangerous on the planet. This is the North Sentinel Island. The North Sentinel Island in the Andaman, home to the sentinelist tribe, is one of the world's forbidden islands. People in the island are still untouched by the modern world and know nothing about the outside world or advanced technology. They usually get violent and start attacking those who try to visit the island. North Sentinel Island is one of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands and comes under Indian territory. It has an area of about 59.67 square kilometer and a roughly square outline. The Sentinelist people are known for their violence and unwillingness to communicate with any outsiders. Little is known about the Square Island where they live, largely because it is covered in forest. India has banned its citizens from visiting North Sentinel Island or attempting to make contact with the people who live there. Going within 3 miles of the island is illegal. 2 fishermen who washed up on the shore in 2006 were quickly attacked and murdered by the tribe. When helicopters from Indian Coast Guard fly overhead, whether on reconnaissance missions or dropping off parcels of food for the people, they are met with arrows and stones. Nobody is quite sure how many Sentinelist people live on the island. It's estimated to be anywhere between 50 and 100 people. They have lived in seclusion on the island for more than 60,000 years, according to anthropologists. Maurice Vidal Portman was a British naval officer known for his documentation and pacification of several Andamanese tribes between 1879 and 1901. It is believed that the tribal people are hostile because Portman had kidnapped several islanders. There are only few people who have been able to make contact with the Sentinelist tribe. Triloknath Pandit, an anthropologist who is among the few men to have made contact with the Sentinelist tribe. Pandit says their team worked hard to win the trust of the Sentinelist islanders. We were trying to communicate the members of the tribe just to extend a hand of friendship and wanted nothing from them. We tied the Yorkshire pig to a boat and we set sail. The poor thing. The pig was a gift. In the early days itself, we chalked out a method to drop gifts. We would stop our boat at a safe distance from the island so that even if the Sentinelists were to shoot arrows at us, we wouldn't be hit. We would wade through the water with the offerings, drop them on the shore, and rush back to observe what happens, Pandit says. That day, as soon as the team left the pig on the island and reached their boats, the Sentinelists came out of the jungle to inspect the offering. 3 to 4 of them looked at the pig intently and finally one spared it. We thought our gift had been accepted. The next day, we saw a small mound on the beach. Curious, we decided to take a risk and inspected the mound since there was no one on the shore. We found that they had killed the pig and buried it. Our gift had been rejected. We never took back another, sticking to coconuts, Pandit recalls. If we tried to venture into their territory without respecting their wishes or got too close for comfort, they would turn their backs on us and sit on their haunches as if to defecate. That was meant to be an insult. If we didn't pay heed and stop, they would shoot arrows as a last resort. During their first trip to the island, however, Pandit and his team were not aware of what they might encounter. A 20-member team, including armed local security officials, landed on the island and managed to make it to their settlement. The sentinels hid in the forest. I believe they are aware of the power of a firearm and did not want a confrontation. We had not gone with the intention of occupying, only studying. Before leaving, we left a coconut in each hut as a goodwill gesture. The team found 18 slated roof huts, all facing each other, and small fires outside each hut. The fire was protected by a ring of twig around it. Bows and arrows and spears lay about. During another trip, Pandit and his team sought the help of a Onge tribesman, hoping they would help communicate with the sentinels. We took 2 Onge men who were like our friends in the island. They attempted to converse with them, but then the sentinels said something, the Onge man, that got them to hide inside the boat and asked us to leave immediately. To this day, I don't know what they said. The Onge man only told us that the men were very dangerous. He said, it took Pandit and his team 25 years to establish a rapport with the tribe. By attempting to gift coconuts, plastic buckets, and even a piece of red cloth that they had heard might be a friendly gesture. The cloth was discarded, but the coconut, which doesn't grow on the island naturally, was an instant hit. On 4 Jan 1991, more than 1,200 kilometers from the Indian mainland in the Bay of Bengal, a young Indian woman anthropologist waded waist deep into the coral reefs to hand over a coconut to a man from the Sentinel's tribe. This was the first ever friendly contact with this hostile tribe of the Andamans. Given that the hostile nature of the Sentinels, the contact parties would avoid approaching the tribe directly and watch them from the safety of their ships or leave gifts in remote part of the island. This was the first time a woman was a part of a contact expedition with the Sentinels, and they put their guard down. The presence of a woman indicated that the contact party meant no harm. This braveheart anthropologist is Dr. Madhumala Chattopadhyay, then a researcher with the Anthropologist Survey of India, who went on to spend 6 years researching the various primitive tribes of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Madhumala is also the first woman to be accepted by another Andamanese tribe, the Jarawas, with whom she established a friendly relationship, especially the women folk. Unfortunately, her accomplishment remained forgotten. She once said, Never in my 6 years of doing research alone with the tribes of Andamans did any man ever misbehave with me. The tribes might be primitive in their technological achievement, but socially they are far ahead of us. But they have stopped their contact with us again. The reason is not known why. It may be either because of the kidnapping or maybe because of diseases. Recently, in November 2018, John Allen Chow, a missionary based out of Alabama in the USA, had traveled to the North Sentinel Island to preach to the Sentinelese about Jesus and Christianity. According to John's journal, on November 14, 2018, that John wrote from a safe house in Port Blair, he recounts meeting with the fisherman the previous night. He wrote that the fisherman had agreed to drop him off and won't be accompanying him. In a journal entry from 5:30 a.m. on November 15, that they rendezvoused successfully the night before and were currently on the boat, waiting to make contact. He also talked about how they evaded the Indian Coast Guard and the Navy's patrolling boats. The party then entered a cove as the sun began to rise in the east and decided to wait for the Sentinelese to come out of the thick forest which is on their island. The next entry describes John's less than amiable first contact with the Sentinelese. The tribe, which is known to react with suspicion and violence towards outsiders, did just that when met with John. John attempted to preach to them and in rather strange admission said, "And disembark my kayak to show them that I too have 2 legs." John then describes one Sentinelese man as well built with a round face, one fly or right cheek, and yellowish pigment in circles on their cheek, and about 5 feet. John narrated that he gave them the gift type items, after which he said that they took his kayak. Then a little kid shot him with an arrow, which luckily hit the Bible he was holding in front. He felt its arrowhead and found out it was made of metal. John also attempted to speak with them. However, the Sentinels, clearly not taking well to him, strung their arrows on their bows, and John panicked. John then waded back into the water and swam almost a mile towards the fisherman's boat, the same fisherman who had helped John come into the forbidden North Sentinel Island territory. On November 16, he set out for his second attempt, which was his final visit to the Sentinelese. On November 17, one day after his last journal entry, the fisherman saw tribe members on the beach burying a dead body he believed was John's based on the silhouette of the body, clothing, and circumstances. Before John died, however, he instructed the fisherman to take his 13-page journal to Alexander, a local friend. Some people believed that these tribal people are cannibals, but according to the evidences, it is proved that they aren't cannibals. Instead, they are hunter-gatherers. They likely use bows and arrows to hunt terrestrial wildlife and more rudimentary methods to catch local seafood such as mud crabs and molluscan shells, eggs of turtles, fruits, vegetables, and also eat honey. The sentinels are animists. They worship nature. It has endowed them with life skills which helped them survive during the Bay of Bengal tsunami of 2004 when they escaped to high ground because they were able to understand nature. Sentinelese is the undescribed language of the Sentinelese people of North Sentinel Island in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, India. Due to the lack of contact between the Sentinelese people and the rest of the world, essentially nothing is known of their language. According to one tribal rights group, the Sentinelese are in danger of dying out. Survival International has named the tribe the most vulnerable group of people in the world, as they have not built up immunity to common diseases like the flu. The Great Andamanese tribe of India's Andaman Island were decimated by disease when the British colonized the island in 1800s. Survival International's director Stephen Corey said in a statement, "The only way the Andamanese authorities can prevent the annihilation of another tribe is to ensure North Sentinel Island is protected from outsiders." It is perhaps the most aggressive uncontacted tribe that exists. The Indian government has always respected the wishes of the Sentinelese to be left alone. So friends, this was my video today. I hope you all enjoyed it. Subscribe to get more videos like this. Thank you. Bye bye.